Flosstube! Welcome to my channel. My name is Jess and my pronouns are she and her, and I'm here to talk to you about cross stitch. Who would have thunk? It's the end of January and I feel like I have smashed through my stitching this month, to be honest. I have been doing, if you didn't watch my finish parade at the start of the month, I have been doing what I have dubbed Just Do It January. My plan for the year is to have a theme every month, preferably alliterative, because it's the way that my brain works. It makes my brain happy. So Just Do It January was about essentially decluttering and spring cleaning a little bit. So working on whips that I've been neglecting and being like, just do it, just finish it. They're not that big, just get it done. Sorting through my stitchy junk drawer, because I have an organised stash with lots of drawers for different things, but I'm trying to keep my house in general decluttered. So if there's something that I don't have time to put away, I have like a designated stitchy stuff drawer with the intent that it keeps it out of the way, and then I can, when I've got like half an hour, I can go through and declutter it. I haven't done that for a while, so that was long overdue. Going through and pulling out fabrics and patterns that I don't really vibe with, maybe things that I've won in raffles that just didn't really click for me, that kind of thing. So my de-stash box overfloweth at the moment. I'm not sure what my next, I think my first like official retreat of the year might be Ladybird in June. So if you're coming to that, look out for the grey de-stash box because it's stuffed. And then lastly, like, as well as going through my whip box and just doing it, there are also some in there that I just have zero desire to stitch on, and in most cases it was because of fabric count and using 2 strands. So I've UFO'd things too. And lastly, some Flosstube editing. My Organza Diaries, my Freya being stitched on organza update, which I filmed back in November, has finally been done and uploaded. So yeah, we've had a great month. We've had 5 finishes. I've worked on 5 other whips, and I've got a tiny bit left on my fabric box to like log the fabric I have, I guess. But otherwise I think my stitchy stash is done, it's cleansed. It's very satisfying. I might have to include some photos at the end. So let's get into it. 5 finishes. So the first one, this is the order that I finished them, whereas when I get to whips it's just going to be whatever order they're in, because I can't remember when I worked on which one. I'll just fold this so you can actually see the whole thing. So this is what is it? It's Ottoman Tiles by Vivsters. At the start of the month I had this sort of turquoise blue and dark blue tile done, and I had the outline, like the dark blue outline for this tile, and I really like the pattern. I love the colours, I love the general vibe, but it is massive. So I was always considering doing fewer of the tiles. So in the regular design, around the edges, these sort of edge bits are gaps, so it sort of finishes on whole tiles all the way around. And it's genuinely massive. I think there's like 50 plus tiles. So I always intended to just pick my favourite tiles and sort of keep going for as long as I was feeling it, and then maybe stop. I think what I found is I didn't love this fabric. It's a 20 count even weave, and it's weird. I don't know how to describe it. I've never come across cross stitch fabric like it. It's very soft, but the fibres, it's quite thick. Like the fibres of the even weave are quite chunky. It's just weird. I don't know how else to put it. And I didn't love working on it. I'm more and more, I am accepting and acknowledging that I do not love working over one on even weave and linen, just because I prefer doing the sewing method, which works best with Aida. And I don't like the patience it takes to make sure that the stitches don't slip between the weave of the fabric. So for a while I told myself I was going to do like 5 tiles in like an X shape and leave it at that. And when I got this out at the start of the month, I was like, what's the absolute smallest I can make this? And I already had sort of these 2 points and these 2 points, so that became the limits. And it was just a fill in the box, basically. I actually found once I got this out and really dedicated myself to working on it, I put it in a hoop and put it on my Lowry, and actually that helped a lot. When I am working on something like this, if I have it in a hoop and I can, two-handed stitching, where I basically treat a size 28 needle like it's a double-ended needle. So I poke it eye first, back up through the fabric, is the way I work best with even weaves and linens. Ideally bigger counted ones like 28 or whatever. Sometimes I do, like I did that for Tangled Fire as well, which is 14 count Aida, but beaded. Anyway, two-handed stitching saved this project. I started getting through like 1,000 stitches a day, and I finished this one while we were on holiday, which was lovely. Well, I finished except for 2 stitches, which I missed, and I'd only taken the last colour I thought I needed. So I got 2 stitches when I got home. But spiritually, I finished this one on holiday. And I think this will look really cute in a little square frame. So yeah, really happy to have that one done, having neglected it for 2 years, 2.5 years, 18 months, can't remember. I think I started that in like a July. I think this was one of my, in fact, my brain can do this maths, 18 months, because I started it when I was 33 1/3, because I was 1/3 of a century and I thought that was fun. Yeah, so that's done. Next up we have a sort of refinish. I included this in my finish parade, and as I was showing it realised I'd forgotten to do these little twiddly bits around the outside edge. So all of the middle was already done. I've had to make a note to myself because I counted this in my end of year stats as a finish, not a whip, but it now shows up in Notion as a finish for this year, but it wasn't in my starting whip count. So I've already had to make notes to myself for next year's whip parade or finish parade, so that I don't have another moment where I'm confused that my start of year whip count and my new starts don't add up to my finishes and my remaining whips. So yeah, that was like a week into January, and I've already realised I was having to make adjustments to the numbers. This is one of the Magic School sampler tiles. I'm stitching these with Rachel from Stitch Ecology and Shawnee from Stitchosaurus, and we are doing one every 2 months, which reminds me, actually, this was the December-January one, so I need to remember to message them and figure out what we're doing next for February and March. Yeah, really happy with that one. Number 3, so this is the biggie. This has probably had half to 2/3 of my stitches for the month. I can put this one on the board because it deserves it. One memento. I should have ironed it, but it's going to have to get folded up to be posted, so I might just have to roll with it being a little bit creased for now. So this is, says rustling fabric. This is Dragon Whisperer. This is by Quaternion Creations, and yeah, this one's a model stitch, so it's getting posted off to Maria. Hopefully today, if I get organised and find an envelope and get it all packaged up nice and safe. I started this one back in November, I think. And yeah, unfortunately I then got swept up in, I think I'd done 2 out of 4.5 skeins of black of 310, and then I got massively swept up in all my December stitching and didn't touch this for a whole month, so I felt quite guilty. It didn't have a deadline, so and Maria was very, very chill and understanding, But yeah, it got to January and I was like, I can't keep neglecting this. It will just stay in my whip pile forever, so let's just do it. So I really enjoyed, actually, every time I finished a skein on this, I took a photo. So if you want to go see the sort of the progression of this, I did all of the black and then the variegated. Let me bring it in, try and bring it in. So the wings and her dress and various other bits and bobs, like mushroom down the bottom here, have some gorgeous variegated DMC. And then we've got those pops of really bright 666. But yeah, if you want to see the progression of one colour and one skein at a time, that is over on my Instagram with the finished picture for this. But yeah, I love this. But this had, I think, 8,500 stitches this month. So really, like, it really was a focus. I think I got I can't remember actually what order these were in. This one might have been first, actually. I finished this one when we were on holiday on the ship. We did a little cruise. And then this was my focus pretty much until it was finished. Yeah, I really love stitching this. It's been nice having just working on one colour kind of project. Like, I know it's not fully monochrome, but I kind of stitched it like it was. Yeah, very satisfying. So as I say, that one is due to get posted off as soon as I find an envelope and a plastic bag to securely wrap it up and send it safely. So next up we have Autistic AF. So this is by BeesOnToastShop. And this was a December start in 2024 on a different piece of fabric, and I got literally 10 stitches in and I didn't like the fabric colour that I'd picked for the thread colours on this. So I spent a year not working on it and then yeah, really struggled to find cross stitch fabric that I liked. So this is just plain cotton. I've stitched this with waste canvas that you pull out afterwards. So bring it in close. I don't know how well it's going to show, but the fabric is a little bit sparkly, and it's very tone on tone. So yeah, this was I did this last weekend. I filmed my Autism Ask Me Anything, which I plan to edit and get uploaded in the next couple of weeks. And then I was only a couple of hundred stitches away from finishing, so I figured why not just crack on. And again, over on Instagram, if you want to see a little time lapse, I recorded and sped up pulling the waste canvas, which was very satisfying. It took me about 25 minutes, but I sped up to, I think, 90 seconds. But yeah, if anyone has any questions about using waste canvas, I'm more than happy to help. I think it's one of those things that lots of people have seen or heard of, but perhaps are too nervous to try, and it's really not that scary. I talk about it a little bit in my Organza Diary series because I'm using it for Freya as well. And I've got another project on my Space Dino that again is on printed cotton with waste canvas over the top. So yeah, I feel like I'm getting fairly confident with it now. So if you have questions or if you want to give it a go and you're not sure where to start, give me a shout. I will happily do what I can to help. Yeah, really love that one. I'm really excited to have that up on the wall as well. And then lastly, I literally finished this yesterday and I've started putting it in a hoop, but I think this is going to take a lot of finagling, so don't take this as fully finished by any stretch. This is my winter owl. Fold some of the excess fabric behind at least. Making a mess of that. Fold it all in. Okay, that's a bit better. So this is my winter owl. This is a design like the pattern by Susan Bates, who, to be fair, I've not heard of outside of the context of the World of Cross Stitch magazine. I don't know if she's like one of their writers or something, or if she does offer patterns elsewhere. Admittedly, I've not exactly gone looking. Yeah, this was in the, can I remember, January 2025 edition. So it came out in like November, December time, 2024. This was one of my either 12 starts of Christmas or my New Year's Eve. I think it was a New Year's Eve start, maybe. Yeah, because I did like 50 stitches up here and that was it. So what have I done on this? So a few of these twiddly bits down the side still needed adding, and then sort of this chunk of florals at the bottom, plus backstitch. I really love this. The finish intention is that this circle will get effectively cut out, so the middle will get cut out and it will get wrapped backwards around the hoop, so it's a sort of negative space. As you can see, there's quite a lot of wrinkles around here at the moment because getting the tension right between the two hoops is challenging. I need to get a screwdriver out for tightening them both because they're like particularly this little one is really fiddly because it's sort of inset within the outer hoop, so getting my fingers in there to twist it and having the tension of the fabric right next to it is a challenge. So definitely need a screwdriver to help with that one. And a lot of patience, to be honest. But I'm so happy with this one. I think this has been ongoing for over a year and it's not that many stitches. I think the only reason it's gone on so long is because I've enjoyed it so much. I've not wanted it to finish. I've not wanted it to be done because then I don't get to stitch on it anymore. I'm obsessed with how the backstitch makes it pop. I know people don't like I don't mind it. I don't love backstitch over like really full coverage stitching, but because this is a narrow area, I can start the backstitch like based on where it is at the edge, and then I'm doing backstitch based on the backstitch rather than trying to do it based on which colour is where, because once you've got several similar colours it becomes really hard to keep track. But yeah, I love it. I'm so happy with this one, and this literally was a finish last night, so sneaking in finish number 5. On the note of 5s, I actually also have 5 whips, which I really enjoy when I have these months where like all the numbers align. Again, it makes my brain happy. It's completely unnecessary and it's not intentional, but when it happens, I'm going to enjoy it. So we have 5 whips. Which one am I starting with? Let's start with this. So this is the biggie. No, I'm going to save the biggie for the end because it also comes into my plans. Right, so a littly then, the complete opposite. I mentioned, in fact, the 5s thing. Let me cycle back to that. So we've had 5 finishes. I also had 5 UFOs. I think I mentioned UFOs, but I don't think I said there were 5. So I'm not going to be able to remember what all of them are. But I think one I UFO'd because I didn't love the colour that I'd picked. I was doing it as a monochrome and the combination of the fabric and the thread just wasn't working. It was a big project, so I didn't want to slog through not enjoying it. So that's one. There were, I think, 3 because I wasn't enjoying the fabric count, so using 2 strands on like 14 or 16 count aid it just feels like a slog for me at the moment, and they're projects I've not reached for in like almost a year, if not more, and it just feels pointless having stuff in my whip box that I'm not enjoying. And then the last one was my needle point that I started almost exactly a year ago actually at the Floss Friends Tips and Tricks, and I've since discovered that I didn't really enjoy working with a pearl cotton on needlepoint, but I have since done needlepoint with 6 separated strands of embroidery thread, so I'm going to retry that pattern but converting the colours to standard DMC because I really like the pattern. I just was absolutely hating working with such chunky pearl cotton. I just found it was untwisting and not lying nicely. So yeah, 5 UFOs. So between that and the finishes, we're down 10 whips already this year. I think I started with like 37. Does that sound right? Something like that. We're in the like high 20s, low 30s at the moment. And part of that is because one of those UFOs I restarted. So this is Mandala Giraffe. It's not a huge start, but this is about 5 times as much in a day and a half as I'd done in the previous year on the other version. So this is now on 20 count coffee craft fabric, which I got from one of her lucky dips. So it's not a very big piece, but it's perfect for this giraffe. And again, I worked on this on the ship. I think I'd finished a skein on Dragon Whisperer, and I wanted just a brief burst of colour for the last day. So yeah, I'm really happy with that. And I think there are a lot of colours in this. It was a lot of threads to pull to take with me as a possible start for that trip. So I don't know. I like the idea of this being like a nice little compact travel stitch, but I think I need to maybe pick whatever colour has the most stitches and get like a framework in, so that I can then just take 1 or 2 colours and put them in everywhere, rather than having to swap colours as often, because like there's probably 8 or 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 9, 10, 11. I reckon there's 11 different colours just in that little bit. And I've got them in quite a small little tin, so it was a challenge to squish all the colours in. I'm not in any kind of rush to work on this. I think it's a nice one if I'm working on something dark or monochromatic. It's nice to have something that's a nice little pop of colour. It's nice and easy. You see quick progress on it. So yeah, that was my little start in a nice colourful little tin that I won in a raffle. That's whip number 1. Next up we have scissors. Goes this way. This literally I think only got like an hour or so working on it. The fabric and thread for this are both from KLT Charting. So we have, the fabric is 16 count Polar Express Aida from the Advent, and the thread is Nightmare Before Christmas hand dye, which is gorgeous. Absolutely obsessed with that. And then the pattern, so it's kind of like a Advent theme start, I guess. The pattern was a gift from the lovely Emma from Emma X Stitching. She finished this during her Flossmas, and when I messaged and said, or commented, I can't remember which, and said absolutely love that little scissors pattern, she very kindly gifted it to me and popped it in the post. So I started this on New Year's Eve for my 12x12, and as I said, I think I just stitched on this for an hour when we were on holiday. Yeah, it's a nice little one, so I will probably carry on with that at some point. I imagine it'll only take me a couple of days to finish the rest of it. Yeah. Thank you, Emma. And thank you, Kim, for the lovely fabric and floss. Let's tuck those back in. Let's use the crinkling. But I am not the kind of person who can get everything out in advance and put it away afterwards, because I'd just lose everything, including the will to live. Next up, so this one is about a year old now, just over. This was a start last year for my lovely friend Soph for her birthday, and for her birthday this year, those of us who started it, I think 5 or 6 of us got it back out and put some work into it. So I have long neglected this. Oh, there we go, good lighting. That's probably quite true to what the fabric is. It's gorgeous. So this is, I want to say 16 count Mystic Evenweave from Picture This Plus. Not Evenweave, what am I on about? Aida. And I had previously done most of this sky in the trees, so I've just finished the middle couple of colours on the sky and started putting in the structure of the roof there in 310. I think this one has been a little bit neglected because I've tried to get it out twice now at retreats, and for some reason my brain has decided to work on these trees, and between the fabric being like, because it's hand dyed, the holes aren't very big and it's relatively dark, so it's a little bit hard to work on when you've not got really good lighting. So every time I've worked on those trees I've made mistakes and had to frog a little bit. So instead I'm going to come down and just work on the house, on the cabin, and that way, like, hopefully the trees will have a little bit more structure to go off rather than just winging it. But yeah, I really love this. It was a great choice of a pattern from Soph, and I think this might be my first NeedleLot designs, possibly, but I'm really enjoying it. I just, yeah, need to take the time to work on it. Yeah, I love that that lives in my little mushroom bag. It's very, like, woodsy. Okay. To be fair, this only, I think all of these, except for the last one, all of these only got one day, for various reasons. This one, next one, came out when I had a work, it was like a work broadcast. I never really know what to call them. It was like a whole company video call, but obviously there's zero chance of me being on camera or talking on an all company video call. It's more like a broadcast from like the CEO and stuff. So when I have things like that, I quite often will stitch whilst listening and watching. So this is my current always bring cross stitch because I can just stitch over where I've marked the words out in the middle. So this is going into a spiral by Plastic Little Covers, I think. I'm never 100% confident about that designer name. It's being stitched on a piece of 18 count printed Aida from Stitch Bunny Shop, and at the moment I am just stitching that text in the middle in 310. And then you can possibly see in the bottom of the bag here I have a whole bunch of beads from Spellbound Beads, excuse the ring light glare, a whole bunch of beads that I will be doing all the decorative motifs around the outside in. Yeah, I love how quickly this one goes because I'm not having to like cross-reference a pattern, but I do need to sit down at some point and add the G on going and maybe draw on the rest of the black that goes in the motifs around the outside so that I've got that ready to go as well. And at some point this will very much stop being a travel always bring cross stitch kind of project because I can't fathom the idea of taking, well, I take the beads with me, I can't fathom stitching on beads out and about. That just feels like a recipe for disaster. I was watching actually, Teresa Little Stitcher and her like end of year roundup, and I think it was a Mill Hill, she was talking about stitching on the train, and I was like, oh, like, yeah, that's nice and portable. It would never have occurred to me to stitch the beads. And she was like, yeah, like it's not too bad when there's workmen, they don't mind as much when beads accidentally get pinged at them sometimes. I don't have the patience for doing something like beading in public. Like, no, I need my like full setup. So that brings me on to my last whip, which is the Beast. It's not the biggest beast, but it's the focus beast. So this is Beyond the Horizon. It is a pattern by Unconventional X Stitch, artwork by Aja Tria, and it's my oldest whip. This is the only one that got more than one day of work, and that is because this is my focus piece for Whip Go. I'm gonna fold it up because my arms aren't used to holding things up for that long. So Whip Go. My Whip Go board, which I will pop in here, is 24 tiles, and each tile has 2 colours from this project. So it's the 48 colours with the fewest remaining stitches. So each month when Whip Go gets called, essentially 4 colours are up for stitching. my goal to cross off that whip go is to do at least one of the colours on each tile. So I've organised them so that each tile will have like a high quantity of stitches and a low quantity of stitches. So if I'm feeling good about stitching, I can do the higher number. If I for whatever reason don't get around to this until the end of the month and I just want to smash it out, I can just do the lower number. But one way or another, by the end of the year, 24 to 40, well, at least 24 colours, possibly as high as 48 colours on this should be colour completed. For January, I started off strong and did all 4 available colours. February has now been called, so this is probably going to stay out, and will get worked on at the start of February again. Just while I've got the momentum, I might as well keep going with it. And yeah, I'm looking forward to getting some progress on this. I think at the moment, because I've colour completed that biggest colour, whenever I pick this up, my brain is like, oh, it's all just going to be confetti. And then I don't want to work on it. Like, I'll pick a colour and I'll look at it on Patternkeeper and just be like, oh, it's so confetti. So I'll look at a different colour and I'll be like, oh, that's also confetti. I think by having the colours picked for me, it's just do it. Just get it done. Just stop umming and ahhing over which colour you want to work on, which one's a nice colour, which one's got like some nice chunks. Just pick the colour up and do it. It's like a just do it, but for the whole year. Yeah, so far so good. For all of my plans this year, I feel like I'm going to talk about this almost every video because it's been such a game changer mentality switch for me. My entire vibe for the year is I'm going to make plans. Some of them are going to sound insane, but if by having the plan I get more done than if I didn't have the plan was a success, even if the plan wasn't finished. So I've already probably done more on this than I would have if I hadn't decided to do whip go with it. If I'm being brutally honest, I've barely touched this the last 2 years. So 4 colour completes in the first 3 days of the year is already more progress than I got last year or the year before. So even if whip go goes completely off the rails and I don't do any more on it, it was worth doing whip go, right? Hopefully I will stick at it and we will get at least 24 finishes, colour finishes. But if not, it's not the end of the world because I've still got more done. Like, I'm still seeing the plan and whip go as a success, even if I don't do every single one. That's the plan. I saw this online. I saw like someone talking about plans. They framed it as a neurodivergent thing, that like black and white thinking is if you don't do everything on the plan or everything on the list, then you're bad at making plans or you're bad at making lists. But yeah, reframing it that getting more done means it was a success has been a bit of a game changer. Both in stitching and in general life, it's helped a lot. So we've sort of like transitioned into talking about plans, so let's carry on with that. I mentioned before that I'm doing themed months this year. For February, my theme is FFO February. The plan here is to get out my finishes that I have been wanting or meaning to put in frames or make into cushions or various other things. I've got a whole list of different finishing techniques that I want to try and work through. I just had a quick check on Notion, and according to Notion, I have 17 finishes that haven't been FFO'd. Some of those I might not, because they were like little test swatches or like mini test pieces, that kind of thing, or just things that I'm not that bothered about having hung up. Like, I enjoyed stitching them, but they can just live in my finishes bag and that's fine. But a lot of them, like when did I finish Circular Logic, does it say? I finished this on the 18th of February. Oh, that's probably not quite right. I finished on the 18th of February 2024. I think the round robin finished in like May or June. It was quite a quick turnaround. But mid 2024, and we're now in 2026, I have had the frame the entire time. It is literally sat upstairs on top of the frame waiting to be put in it. There are various other ones that have probably been around for as long, if not longer. So again, it's kind of continuing the vibe of Just Do It January. We're just going to get them done. As I said, I've got a bunch of different finishing techniques. I'm not going to talk through all of them, but for example, I'm going to make a needle minder with a very teeny tiny over 1 on 40 count stitch that I did. I have one that's designed to be made into a pouch. We've got some framing. I probably will make at least one into a cushion. We've got the double hoop for the owl. So there's all sorts planned. I know Rachel from Talking Dog Stitchery has said that she wants to join me on this, and we're probably going to have like a Zoom call or something, just to like body double, so keep each other accountable. And then at the end of February, I'm also going on a stitching weekend away with some friends, and I've kind of suggested if anyone wants to bring some finishes, we can all kind of bring supplies. I've got hoops in almost every size imaginable at this point. But like if someone needs a sewing machine and doesn't have one, or if someone needs, I don't know, help making cord because they've not done it before, like that's me. I'm going to be figuring out how to make cord this month. Or if someone needs a glue gun and they don't have one, like we can all kind of share supplies and materials and equipment and stuff to help each other get some FFOs. So I'm looking forward to that as well, like having a little FFO workshop with some friends. So yeah, we'll see how many of those 17 I get through. I have one more whip in mind that I might try and get some work in on, which is my Starry Starry Night biscornu, because I've never made a biscornu before. So if I get that finished, it's not many stitches. So if that gets finished in time, I might try biscornu as well. So we'll see. But next update at the end of February, expect all of the FFOs. It's going to be an FFO avalanche. But yeah, if you would like to join me, let me know. I'd love to know what you're finishing, if you're trying a new finishing technique. Yeah, just let me know. I love seeing what other people are doing. And as part of this whole FFOing situation, I'm planning to do a tutorial because I've been promising for a while. I didn't think to bring one down with me. But when I do hoops, I do like a spiral lacing on the back, and I've been promising for a while to show how to do that. So I'm going to do that, and as an extension show how I would then turn it into an ornament. So you can take the outer hoop off and felt the back, so that it's self-contained, you can't see the hoop at all. So I will do that as a tutorial and upload that at some point during the month as well. So that's FFO February, and I guess I want to try and be giving people like a heads up what the following month's theme is. So for March, we're going to do March Madness. If you want to know more about that, I'll be talking about it more towards the end of February, but in the meantime, the Steel City Stitchers are, I think, the people who originally came up with this. So go have a look on their channel. I'll try and find the right video and link it below. But yeah, if you want to know more about how that works sooner, go check that out. But yeah, otherwise I'll talk about it more next month. What else? Okay. Yeah. Sorry. I didn't like make notes or plan what order to talk about things in. So this is brain trying to figure things out in real time. So next up in my plans, because you know, there's not enough already to want to fit FFO 17 things in 1 month and do whip go and do other stitching. We're going to do Flosstube Frenzy. Yay. So if you haven't come across it, Flosstube Frenzy is like a stitching game created by Anna from the Alchemist Stitcher. And the basic concept is you pick some of your favourite floss tubers. Sorry, my throat's really like croaky this morning. You pick some of your favourite floss tubers, you assign a whip to each one, and whenever they upload, you put a set number of stitches into that project. So for example, if someone uploads, maybe I put 200 stitches into a project. It's much like any Stitchy game, like your game, your rules. So you can pick how many stitches, like whatever you want. You can have different stitches for different people depending on how prolific they are at uploading videos. So the way that I've done this, I have picked 8 projects. Yeah, so all but one of them are like just my biggest project. So all my full coverages, plus Freya and Twisted Band Sampler are the sort of main ones. And then I've added one that I want to work on, and it happens to tie in with one of my favourite Flosstubers. So instead of picking Flosstubers and then just assigning projects to them at random, I've picked my project and I've then gone looking for Flosstubers that work for that project. So, for example, Beyond the Horizon, because, you know, WIPCO isn't enough progress on this for the year. Beyond the Horizon, I have assigned to Emma from Emma X Stitching. She has recently started this project. So the way that I'm going to do this is whenever she posts a video, I will put 200 stitches in. If she has shown that project with progress, Emma, with progress, then I will put a bonus 200 stitches in. The with progress is because I mentioned this to Emma and to Rosie, who I will come to in a second, and both of them immediately went, oh, well, I'll just post all the time. Or in Emma's case, she said she might hold up her Beyond the Horizon every video, even if she's not worked on it, just to make me do the bonus 200 stitches. So I've had to add the condition that it only counts for the bonus stitches if she's also done some work on it. So yeah, back at you, Emma. Get yours out and start working on it, huh? Yeah, so for example, with that one, in January, Emma posted 3 videos and 2 of them had this project shown. So during February, I'm doing all of these where just once a month I will add them all up and then I'll do the stitches the following month, because I don't have the capacity to keep track of like which ones I have stitched for, which one's a new upload, whether it's got the relevant project in or not. So during January, Emma has posted 3 videos and 2 of them had Beyond the Horizon in. So I will be putting 1,000 stitches into this project. And for these stitches, I'm going to start with the colours with the most stitches. So it might only be I get 1 or 2 colour completes during the year for this. But it means I'm kind of working in from both sides, which I hope will work. So that's Beyond the Horizon. Next up, I don't have the other projects here, but I will put the overlay so you can see what the finished project looks like. And I might take photos of the before, like at the start of the year for these ones, so that I can see how far I've gotten on them. The next one is B. This is by Lorna Lane. It's a Gecko Rouge kit, and I am stitching this. I've swapped the fabric, so I'm stitching this on 20 count Longbourn Blush, I think, from Swan Bay Fabrics. For this one, Rosie is a Flosstuber, but she's not currently actively uploading. But Rosie and I decided last year, because she has this whip as well, we were going to work on this together using the hashtag #GetYourGecko_out. Excellent hashtag from Rosie. Find it hilarious that someone had used that for posting pictures of actual geckos before we started using the hashtag. So go enjoy the mix of Gecko Rouge projects and actual real live geckos on that hashtag. Because it's Instagram posts that I'm going to use for Rosie instead of Flosstube, I'm doing fewer stitches per upload. So 100 stitches for an Instagram post and a bonus 100 if it's B. Again, with progress. So in January, Rosie has posted 9 times, so 900 stitches will be going in on that one during February. Next up is Love, which is again a Gecko Rouge. I'll pop the picture up and everything. This one I recently restarted because I wasn't loving 2/1 tent on, I think it was 25 I was doing it on. So I started this 1/1 on 20 count. I'm still not 100% set on which way I'm going to do it. I am finding that the 1/1 with the dark colours is looking a little bit gappy. I don't know, need to figure that one out. This one is being assigned to Beth from Beth Chadwick, or Stitch with Beth on Instagram. She isn't stitching this project, but she inspired it. So she stitched the Stitch Rovia Aurora Borealis even. And it made me immediately go, I need an Aurora project. I got the Aurora Mill Hill buttons and beads, which I finished last year, so if you want to see that, it's in my finish parade. But I also just love this project, which is called Love. I also actually saw this one. It's very hard to, it'll be really hard to see in the small overlay picture. But on the island under the pink tree, there's actually a couple embracing, like in silhouette. And I actually saw someone stitch this and share it in the Gecko Rouge group. I have saved their post, so I will track that down so that I can pop their name up and give them credit. But they had altered it to be just a single female figure. And when they shared this, they talked about their, like, that it had been like a really transformational piece for them, that they'd gone through like a realizing that they're neurodivergent, and how much that had helped them to embrace themselves and love themselves for who they are and not who they struggle to be in a neurotypical world. And it really resonated with me, so I'm thinking of making the same alteration, but that is a long way off. But yeah, unnecessary background to the project. But yeah, so this one's assigned to Beth because she inspired me to do an Aurora project. Beth hasn't posted this month, which is absolutely fine. So when she does, it'll be 200 stitches added. I might bump that up for Beth because I know she tends to space out her videos a little bit more. So I might do like 500 because I think her normal cadence is sort of every couple of months rather than fortnightly or monthly or anything. Next up we have gaming, which again was a restart in December. Again, I've swapped the fabric out on this one and I'm just trying to, I think it's plum, I can't remember whether it's, I think it might be fibre on a whim, 20 count. I'm stitching this one for my little brother, who is a video gamer. And I have also changed the grayscale colour palette because I didn't like some of those middly greys that it was charted with. This one I am assigning to the Alchemist Stitcher, Anna. So not because she has the same project, but she does a lot of Gecko Rouges, so, and also she came up with the game and I do really enjoy her channel, so was determined to sort of have her be one of my Flosstubers. So again, she doesn't have this as a whip, so it is just stitches per video posted. So in January she posted one video, so I will put 200 stitches into this during February. Next up, so we're halfway there, sorry, I appreciate this is long, but I think it's worth sharing. Next up we have Gamer Nouveau. I have had to go looking for someone who is stitching this. The only person on Flosstube that I've come across before that's stitching this is Sally Stitches and I think she's taking a bit of a break from uploading. So I put out a call for aid on my stories and got some great suggestions. So the one that I've decided to go with is Marika Stitches. She's a new Flosstuber to me. In fact, obviously both of the people who were suggested were new Flosstubers to me, because otherwise I wouldn't have needed to put out the call for help. It's a Friday, my brain is already in weekend mode. Marika is Stitching Gamer. I really enjoyed watching her couple of videos this month. So again, 200 stitches for a Flosstube upload and an extra 200 for a gamer show. She has uploaded 3 videos and one of them had Gamer in, so Gamer will be getting 800 stitches in February. I will come back round to the overall total number of stitches because I have put thought into that. I feel like I'm just like, yeah, I'm going to do 1,000 stitches here and 800 there and 600 here. Like, I'll come back to the overall total and how that fits into my stitching. Next up we have Freya. So for this one I've assigned it to Kat from Cat, Kin and Lily. Kat posts a lot of videos, I'll be real. She cross-stitching is her job. So she posts, I mean, in January she's posted 5 videos. So for Kat, I reduced the number of stitches per video and per Freya show just to keep this sensible. So 100 stitches for a Flosstube post and 100 stitches for showing Freya. She's posted 5 videos and 3 of them had Freya in, so that is 800 stitches. So I guess for context, if I hadn't halved that, I'd be doing 1,600 stitches even on Freya alone, which felt like too much. And this is where the whole it's my game, it's my rules comes in. Penultimate project, we have Twisted Band Sampler. This one has been assigned to Rachel from Talking Dog Stitchery. I'm 99% sure her channel is where I first saw this project and immediately had to go and buy it and start it. So again, standard 200 stitches for a video and a bonus 200 if Twisted Band Sampler is shown with progress. So Rachel can you tell that the in progress rule only applies to people that I'm quite good friends with, because I know they'll try and screw me over by just showing it all the time or posting like shorts just to make me do more stitches. Rachel has done 2 videos and one of them showed Twisted Band Sampler, so 600 stitches will be going into that one this month. And then last but definitely not least, this is the one that's a bit of a wild card. It's not one of my biggest projects, but it's one that I do really want to get some progress on. This one is Quaker Snowflakes, and I've assigned this one to Sherry from Just So Sherry. And again, Sherry posts quite often. She typically does every Saturday, which means most months it'll be 4, occasionally it'll be 5 videos. So for this one, it's just 100 beads added per Flosstube. January is one of those months where it's 5, so 500 stitches will be, or 500 beads will be going onto this one. The nice thing about this project and Sherry's very consistent video uploads is I think there are about 4,500 beads left to go on this, and that's with the text. I've realised since I made this plan that's with the text at the bottom, which I'm not sure I'm going to do. But because I know how many weeks are in the year, like even if Sherry skips a few weeks here and there, I should have this done by Christmas is the intent with that one. All of the others, it will just be some nice progress. I'm not expecting any of these to be getting me to a finish, but I just want to make sure that I'm still getting out and working on my big whips, because it's so easy to looking at these, I've done progress on a lot of small projects and got a lot of small things finished. I mean, the Dragon Whisperer was quite meaty, but I've worked on all the small things, and other than Beyond the Horizon, which was Whip Go, none of my bigger projects have gotten a look in this month. So yeah, I'm hoping that this, again, it's kind of an intentions thing. I want to keep working on my big projects. I don't want them to just sit there, part done and never touched. So we'll see how it goes. In terms of all of that added up, it comes to a total of 4,800 stitches. Now, part of why I like keeping statistics and keeping track is it allows me to do a plan like this and then look at the total and go, is that feasible? Is it reasonable? My average in 2024 was about 15,000 stitches a month. I think my average in 2025 was a little bit lower, maybe 10 to 12,000. So that allows me to look at this number and go, that's somewhere between a third and half of my stitching for the month. Am I okay with that? Once we add whip go on top, that is going to be about another 1,200 stitches if I do all 4 colours, which I don't have to, but that would bring me up to about 6,000 stitches. That does still leave a nice bit of space for, I just want to work on something small, I want to break from the big stuff, let's work on a small one. The other nice thing is there's enough whips in this, it's not like I'm saying I'm going to do all those stitches on one project. I can jump around between these, like there's variety there, there's specialty stitches, there's beads, there's the organza project, there's different colour schemes in the different whips, there's gaming is going to be a colour complete one, so at the moment that is just one colour to do all the outlining and stuff, so that's a nice easy one. So there's variety there, and I've got space in my sort of average stitching for the month to get some other stuff in if needed, so I'm happy with that. I will say that the number of stitches per video and per show of a whip is flexible for me. For example, March Madness is probably going to take a lot of stitching time, so it might be that at the end of February I decide to do all of this and then I might just half all of the numbers for the month, because I know that March Madness is going to take some time and focus. For May, I'm just completely skipping this because I'm doing Monogamous May. I'm not going to have time to work on any of these other projects. I'm going to do Whip Go either just before or just after, like so the last day or two of April or the first day or two of June, because I do want to keep up on that one. But yeah, April uploads are just going to be written off and skipped. So yeah, I'm again, it's a plan. I am more than willing to flex the plan as we go. I might ditch the plan. I might not enjoy it. We'll see. But yeah, it's the plan. We're going with this. So we've got Whip Go, we've got FFO February, and we've got Flosstube Frenzy. The very last plans thing, I promise, is just to briefly talk about upcoming Flosstubes. So I have too many ideas, basically. Too many things I want to do. So I have filmed my Autism Ask Me Anything. I can't remember if I already mentioned that. So I just need to go through and edit that and get that uploaded. Like I said, I'm planning to do the spiral hoop back ornament finish how-to video, which would be nice to get up in February so that you guys can, if you want to join me in doing some hoop FFOs, that feels like a good time to have it up. I am planning to do a whip parade towards the end of February because I find that a really good structure or like video to get all my whips out and make plans for March Madness, which whips are going to go into March Madness and which ones aren't. So we've got a whip parade coming. There will obviously be a how much did I manage to FFO coming at some point. I feel like there's at least 3 other ideas that I'm not remembering off the top of my head. So there's a lot of ideas. I don't know which ones will happen. I think the whip parade for sure will happen. And I think the hoop spiral back will definitely happen. I say definitely, will hopefully happen. The Autism Ask Me Anything just needs editing, but I find editing harder than filming. It takes a lot of focus and I don't feel like I've got a lot of focus at the moment. So that may or may not come out in February. I might take my time with that one because it's not like linked to the theme of the month or anything. But yeah, that's Flosstube plans as well. So we've got stitching plans, we've got FFO plans, we've got stitchy games and challenges, and we've got, yeah. As I'm saying all this, I'm like, have I overdone it? Probably. But like I said, having the plans will hopefully just mean I get more done than if I didn't have the plans. I'm going to leave it there. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's everything, so I'm going to leave it there. Thank you for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed. Please let me know if you have joined in for Just Do It January. I know Rachel has mentioned that she's gotten a couple of finishes done because of that focus. I'd love to know if any of the rest of you have joined in, if you've managed to just get, even if it's not stitching, just get something, like if you've gotten something done that you've been procrastinating. I would love to know. Throat, man, can't deal with being ill again. And if you're joining me for FFO February, let me know what your plans are, what finishing techniques you're planning, if you're planning to learn some new techniques. I'd love to know what your plans are, and then at the end of the month I'd love to know how you got on. So yeah, tag me, use the hashtag, and we'll see where we all get to, I guess. Happy stitching, thank you for joining me, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.